you ever had a goal that just seemed impossible? If so, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Notable Peeps podcast, a series that gives attention to remarkable people who are putting on their shoes, doing their best, and believing in the impossible.
All my dreams are coming true.
Hey, welcome to the Notable Peeps podcast. My name's Steph, and I'm chatting here with Tommy. And Tommy, the way I like to start out every show is asking, our tagline is put on your shoes, do your best, and believe in the impossible. So can you take us back to a time in your life that was hard and just your experience of how to overcame that?
There's times in life that are difficult. There's times in life that are hard. There's times in life that are great and easy. And then there's times in life that are just over the top. And that's when you really need mental fortitude, inner fortitude. And for me, that's when you need faith, So I think one of my toughest, if not toughest, battles in life was my cancer battle. I had stage 4 lymphoma cancer. And honestly, it was torture. I don't even know where to begin. Just a year and a half to 2 years of just misery. And there's days you don't even want to get up. And that's the honest truth. That's not like someone being suicidal. That's not suicidal tendencies, not suicidal talk. That's real. Like if you talk to cancer victims or people that have terminal illnesses, they tell you there's a lot of days they don't want to deal with it no more. They don't want to keep fighting the fight. They don't want to keep going through it. And there were definitely days I felt like that. I thank my family, my mom and dad, my cousin Lisa, certain people in my family, my friends. I say it's 1% my strength and 99%, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I think definitely for me, that was, I'd say, the toughest time of my life. Definitely.
You said it was stage 4?
I had stage 4. Yeah, I had lymphoma cancer. I didn't even realize, I was sick for a long time. And I'm just a really strong guy, alpha type guy. I probably had it and didn't even realize I felt sick for a couple of years and I didn't know what was going on. And finally, I started having this intense, insane pain in my back. And I thought it was just my herniated discs that I suffered at the police department, and through life. I literally thought it was my herniated discs, but it got to the point where I couldn't sleep anymore. I felt like someone shot me in the back. And I'd say the worst pain I've ever felt, the worst human pain I've ever felt, 3 separate occasions I'm prone to kidney stones. So if you talk to experts, doctors, they'll tell you kidney stone, there may be things that rival it, that equal the pain, but there's nothing worse than kidney stone pain. Like human pain, kidney stones are like the top, right? Top of the food chain, a 10 out of 10 for pain. My back pain started to rival that. It started to get close to the kidney stone pain that I used to feel. And it was lasting for like months. And finally I just said, I got to get this checked out, see what's going on. I don't think it's just my herniated discs at this point. And I got, I believe it was MRI, the imaging came back and it showed I had a big tumor on my T5 vertebrae, a cancer tumor on my spine. And then the whole process started. Sloan Kettering Hospital, 2 days later. They didn't know where it was coming from, where it started from, So it was the process. After all kind of tests, spinal taps, bone punctures, imaging, they found out that I had a tumor in my lymph node in my throat that spread. So it started here and it spread to my back and it started spreading throughout my body. So I was in pretty bad shape. 2 years of hell, literal hell on earth nightmare. Like I said, there's things in life that are bad, but until something like that happens, we don't really understand how bad things could be. And there's things in life that are worse than what I faced, right? So, yeah, I uh, I battled for almost 2 years, and thank God, after about 23 days in the hospital with this new treatment, a newer treatment called CAR T cell therapy. After 23 days, they 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 called it. They said I was in remission, and I'm back. I'm big and strong again. I'm back working out, back in martial arts, doing the best I can. I still have lingering effects. I have asthma that was exacerbated by all my treatments, and I'm always worried in the back of my mind that may come back, but that can happen to anyone. So I try not to think about that. Um, but yeah, even me at my worst, I'm thank God, I'm blessed, I'm smarter, I'm stronger than 99% of people I feel. So I'm okay. Thank God. I'm in the right direction, heading in the right place.
No, like hearing you talk about everything that you went through and being like that pain was just how terrible it was. Like I also I don't know, as you were talking, I was like, man, like experiences like that probably make you so grateful for right now when you're feeling healthy and like what you said that you are able to be strong again and do martial arts and stuff. So how is that like how's your life changed since?
So I'm a big believer. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Life lessons make you stronger. But there's a caveat. I've found out through this whole process. I'm stronger in some ways because of what I went through, but I also have scars. I have scars mentally, I have scars emotionally, I have scars physically, literally physically, chemo, radiation, minor surgeries, catheters, bone punctures, spinal taps, CAR T cell therapy, um, a lab rat, really. They break you down to get rid of the sickness, the illness, the disease, and you build back up. So, yeah, I'm strong, but I'm not who I used to be. In a sense, I'm better, and in some ways, a little worse, a little more broken. That's life. Life does that to you. But yeah, it's a fine mix. It's a counterbalance because, like I said, I'm super strong because of the things I've dealt with in my life. Law enforcement, lifelong martial artist, um, recovered from cancer. So I'm super strong on the exterior, on the outside, right?
Mhm.
And even on the inside. But there's still trauma from it. You have, so to speak, I don't like to throw that word around, PTSD. You have anxiety from certain things. Is the cancer going to come back? I get bugged out going to doctors because of everything I've been through. You have fears, even if you don't acknowledge them, they pop up. And yeah, life is a crazy, crazy learning experience. You change. I'm essentially the same person I've always been, but certain characteristics change as you get older because of experiences you go through, and lessons you've learned.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I appreciate you explaining like the different ways that it's changed you, and you've brought up law enforcement, and you recently wrote a book, or I think
Yes,
it's recently.
yes.
Was that something that like after you went through all of this, that you were like, okay, has that always been a goal, and you're like, okay, we need to do it, or did it like how did that come about?
So this is how it went down with the book, right? I was sitting on my couch with an ex, think Law and Order, and I said, I've always wanted to like write a book or some kind of a journal and just put my experiences and ideas down on paper, so to speak. And next thing you know, like that's how I am. I dive into things and I taught myself everything, the entire process, book writing, the laws are revolved around it, plagiarism, the umbrella term of, you know, calling people out for the wrong reason, defamation. You have to be careful with all those things. And I just looked into the whole process, how to write a book, how to organize it, everything. And I just started writing notes on such and such a date, whatever I remembered, this occurred, that occurred. Then I would go back and I started looking at my police reports and text messages from guys I worked with. And before you know it, I have like 500 pages and I'm just rambling and rambling and rambling. And I'm like, holy smoke, this is crazy. So then I had to start the whole editing process, and writing a book is completely different. I mean, I don't have to tell you, you're familiar with the process, correct?
Oh, I've never done anything with a book,
No,
so I think it's
okay,
fascinating. Yeah.
okay. I thought you did for some reason. Back in the day, you write a book with the hopes that a big publishing company buys into it. They're interested and they buy your book, and you basically lose the rights and it's stocked all over stores in America. Kind of like Sylvester Stallone, the Rocky story, right? He wrote the whole thing. He sold it away. He doesn't have the rights anymore. I didn't want that. So I said, you know what? I'm not really doing this to make money. I just want to put my story out there. So I self-independently published, which is a tremendous thing, a great thing they do today. I used a company called Book Baby, and I independently self-published with them. So whenever somebody wants my book, they just got to go online. It's all over, and they just A Life in Law Enforcement, The Good, the Bad, the Corrupt, a Police Memoir. Just look it up and order it, and it's there. And that's basically how the process went. Like I just started writing down ideas, right? This is what happened this day. This is what happened that day. Me and my partner did this. This guy got shot. This guy got killed. Blah 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 blah. And next thing you know, I have like pages of information.
And are you did I read this right? I can't remember. Are you in like the New York area?
So I live in Long Island, New York. Yes.
Okay, okay. So like you're seeing, I would say that's a lot more probably stuff going on than a smaller city. Or,
So I
um,
grew up in Long Island, but after college I moved to Baltimore. And
okay.
I was a police officer in Baltimore, and then I transferred out to Montgomery County, Maryland. I was also a New York State peace officer for a long time in Brooklyn. Um, I worked at Seagate Police Department for years. Baltimore is like I don't even know. I don't really have a word to describe it. It's off the charts. Living in Long Island is $1 million house at every corner. Taxes at 20,000, 30,000, easy a year. Property tax. It's so far removed from what I saw in Baltimore. It's like literally some parts of Baltimore is like a third world nation. You have 15,000 abandoned row homes when I was there. People living in row homes, abandoned row homes with rats that are boarded up. And the amount of crime and poverty over there per capita, per person, it's a different world. It's a different animal. Places like Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, New York in the 70s and 80s. And we're not going to get into politics, but it's starting to go back that route. You know, these are crime infested areas. And you can see more in Baltimore as a police officer, it's just my humble opinion, in a week, in a month, than a police officer would see in an outside jurisdiction in Maryland in a lifetime.
Man, really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, and I mean, I just remember listening to the Serial podcast, um, and that was years ago, but them talking about like the crime rate even back then being
Yeah.
so high that, yeah, like, because they were talking about what was missed in that case. So, are you still in law enforcement or have you retired?
No, I'm done. I'm out. I decided to go a different route.
Yeah.
I took some time off because my cancer treatment, and I decided I just put it this way: law enforcement wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't what I hoped for. And when I was in college, I either always wanted to become a police officer, work in law enforcement, or go to law school. So I said, you know what? We only live once. Let me give it a shot. I want to go to law school, and I'm finishing up my third year of law school now.
Wait, okay, so that's really cool though that you have like the background in the field and especially like you said like in these areas I mean like Brooklyn, Baltimore in these big cities and now you're going to be a lawyer. So what area are you wanting to practice in law?
So I don't want to jinx myself. I got to finish
Okay.
school first, and then I got to pass the bar exam. I am pretty good at one area of law. It's always interested me, and that's my background. So I think something with criminal law, even if I don't practice, maybe writing more books, investigative reporting journalism, something with criminal law.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Uh, like, do you feel? I'm just curious. Like, do you feel having been a police officer and now being a lawyer? Do you feel like you get it even more? Because you've actually seen. Because I'm sure it's frustrating. I know you said like with the movies they don't get it right, but I'm sure it would be frustrating to see someone that you put away is back on the streets like a couple of weeks later, stuff like that.
Oh, that happens all the time. One of my first gun arrests in Baltimore, 400 East Baltimore Street. It's like the equivalent of what Times Square used to be in New York back in the 80s. It's all strip clubs, prostitution, guns, drugs, peep shows, crazy place. And the officer that works there, it's a straight foot beat. It's called, whoever has that post, it's called 1 Adam 11. And I used to have that a lot. You know, I liked being on my own. I was very aggressive. I wasn't fearful. I liked walking a foot beat on the block. And one night, this crazy dude, just crazy guy, got angry. He saw his ex-girlfriend with a new guy, and he, in the middle of 1,000 people in the street, I'm making up numbers. I don't know how many people, but it was a packed. I think it was a Friday or Saturday night. Pulled out his gun right at them, and yeah, that was crazy. He didn't want to put his gun down at first. I almost shot him. Thank God I didn't have to, but I arrested him, and that was my first gun arrest. But yeah, I mean, places like Baltimore, they're a different animal. They're a different element. It's a crazy, crazy, dangerous place. You always have to be prepared at any minute for anything to happen, anything to pop off, especially in a law enforcement capacity. And I do feel, to answer your question directly, I do feel now that I've seen both sides, law enforcement, street work, and now from the other side, as a law school student, you know, potential hopeful future lawyer, I do see things more clearly. It, I, I know it's very vague what I'm saying because you're not in my mind to understand, but I do think that working on a street level and seeing how it works in theory, in practice by a police officer, and then in a court are very similar, but there's definite nuances. So when you're a police officer, it's bang, bang, split second decision making. You don't have time to sit behind a desk and say, well, was there probable cause for this arrest? Was there reasonable suspicion to pat him down? You don't have time for none of that. Guy's pulling out a
Yeah.
gun, he's gonna blast you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time for that mess. So Monday morning quarterbacks, that's all BS. There's no time for that. It's hard to question a cop's motive when it's bang bang split second. It's all about the totality of the circumstance. A detective that's at an office has a lot of time. He could deal with the paperwork. He can analyze the situation. When you're out on the street as a patrol officer, you don't have that luxury. That night I was telling you about, that guy had a 9mm Taurus in his waistband, started turning on me. If he would have turned another inch, I'm shooting him. That's it. And I explained that to him 3 or 4 times. Finally, he put it down, thank God. But I could have went either way, you know? That could have went either way, and a lot of other officers might have shot him. I I was confident in my thought process and my ability in the situation. So I was blessed enough, lucky enough not to resort to a police shooting. But, you know, in a bang bang life or death situation, it's a lot different on the street than it is in a courtroom. It's a lot different. Domestic and car stops are like the 2 most dangerous police calls, right? Because you never know which way they're going to go. You don't know if the guy you just pulled over in the car is wanted. You don't know if he just killed 10 people in Florida and he's driving through on I-95. You don't know if the domestic call you're going to is going to turn violent. One minute, the reporter, whether it's a man or woman, is calling on their spouse. Oh, he just beat me up. Get over here. I need police help. Next minute, you going hands-on with the one that just beat the other one. The partner flips out. No, you ain't hitting my man. You ain't beating my woman. And they're on top of you. So it it's a whole different ballgame when you're out there doing it as compared to when you're watching it on TV or you're in the courtroom in your nice little suit, protected. It's a totally different element.
I didn't know that those are the two most dangerous, though. Like, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So when you're pulling someone over that you don't know where they're coming from, and then the domestic, I remember that video of Gab. Do you remember the file of Gabby Petito?
Gabby Petito, she's from Long Island. Yes. So there's a lot that goes into domestics. I don't remember. So I don't like the Monday morning quarterback, and I don't like to judge other cops. What I will say vaguely, what I remember from that, I think there could have been and should have been more done by law enforcement for her.
Like it's interesting. It's interesting getting your perspective on all of this. And so, writing that book, I mean, like I feel like because when was it that you were diagnosed with stage 4?
So it's only like 2 years ago. Two.
Are you
Wait,
serious?
no, we're going into 26. It's going to be 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
And then when did you publish the book?
So I started writing the book before I was actually diagnosed, and then I kept writing it while I was going through everything. And I was actually going to law school as well at the same time. Like it's crazy. I'm a crazy guy. I when I'm dead, when it's my time, I'll take a nap and I'll relax. But I don't stop while I'm here for the most part. And I published the book a little over a year ago.
Man,
Yeah, and I've been in remission for about a year and a half.
so you've had a eventful like 3 years, like a lot of
Oh
big
yeah.
changes and being in law school.
A lot more than that I'm not even going into. The last 4 years are crazy.
So, well, you mentioned before your faith. Has that always been something that you relied on, or was it more through this experience that you started to gain more faith?
No, so my mom and dad are from Italy. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents immigrated here in the 50s. Italian American family. I was always into my faith. I went to Catholic school for my first 9 years. Um, Private school from kindergarten to nursery school to ninth grade, and then 10th grade I went to public. But faith was always important to me. I I just feel like if I don't have faith, I there's no purpose for me, you know?
Yeah, well, and like when you're in that much pain and like your world is turned upside down, it makes sense, like how you said that, like that you were able to rely on like Jesus, to help
Yeah.
you through it.
Yeah. The doctors were amazing. The doctors at Sloan Kettering are awesome, world renowned, but I don't put all my faith in myself or doctors, or I don't think without God's help, I don't think you make it out of something like that. I don't. I just I it doesn't seem possible to me, you know. I went through too
Yeah.
much, and it was just downhill for a while. And I don't think that I could have pulled myself out of it, or doctors, without, a higher power.
No, for sure. And I really do love this show because I'm hearing from everyone in their perspective of, what they're going through. And it is
Yeah.
just that reminder um of how important it is to have that belief in something,
Yeah.
the bigger than ourselves to like get us through the
Yeah.
hard times.
I agree. I agree. And you know what though? A lot of times, that's another conversation we can spin off to, veer off. A lot of times, just say people in the inner city, for example, they don't have a lot of these people, the youth, they don't have things to hold on to. They don't have the family structure. They don't have the love. They don't have the guidance. So they look for something, but it's the wrong thing. They look for gangs. They look for drugs. They look for criminal activity. Um, so it's important to have something to fall back on and hold on to, but it's paramount, so much more important to have something that's legit, not something that you're just clinging to just to cling to, And I don't look at Christianity as just something to cling to. I look at it as the only thing to cling to, the truth. And it's super important to me.
Yeah, and I feel like at the end of last year I had a lot of episodes where people were talking about like involving God in your goals and like praying more and everything. And so I've started to do that. And I've also been like I had a podcast guest once say like that she looks for like those little moments throughout the day that like God's winking at her, like of like someone
Yeah.
paid for her meal or like someone nice came and talked. And so I've been being like these past couple months more aware of like just being like, okay, first off, like let's not try to do this by myself, but also like just those tender mercies. And it's like, man, like when you open your eyes to it, you see blessings everywhere.
Yeah. And, you know, Christianity, that's for me. I'm Christian, right? But whatever it is, like if you're, how do I even articulate this? I think somehow in the end, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Muslim, you believe in Islam, whether you're a Christian, I think in the end, it's all going to tie back somehow. There's not 100 gods, in my opinion, there's not. So just pray to your God, pray to your God and leave it to him and do the best you can in life. Just give it 100%. And that's all you can do. Just be the best person you can be. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I've dealt with a lot of adversity and I have so many things going on in my life, that are problematic. We all have issues. But like I said, at the end of the day, for me, when I just think about it, I don't think I'd be anywhere without my faith.
No, I 100% agree. And I always am like grateful when guests like bring up their faith because then it's like I'm not usually like diving into that, but it's always nice to be able to like because I mean I just got off work and it's just nice to have that conversation. It's sort of like a little reminder of okay, yeah,
Yeah,
life is good, God's here, so thank you
uh,
for that.
of course.
You there. Well, in wrapping up, um, let us know so your book and your social media, if you just want to share those so people can find you on there.
So a life in law enforcement, like I said, Police Memoir, The Good, the Bad, the Corrupt. You can find it anywhere online, Amazon, Book Baby. Just Google my name, Thomas Carchidi.
Thanks so much for chatting with me, Tommy, and sharing more about your story. And to those of you who have joined this conversation, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, like for pushing play and joining us because there's so many podcasts that you could be listening to. And I hope that this is your reminder to put on your shoes, do your best, and believe in the impossible. And I'll catch you guys next Sunday.
All my